Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness is made up of 1 million acres of interconnected lakes and boreal forest stretching across the northern edge of Minnesota up against the Canadian border. It is a wild and remote place, carved by glaciers over 12,000 years ago, scraping the bedrock and scouring basins into the Canadian Shield. When the glaciers finally retreated, they left behind thousands of lakes, linked by narrow channels across exposed granite and ancient soil. The rock here is among the oldest on Earth, pre-Cambrian stone, billions of years old. It's a really unique and stunning landscape here in the North Woods. Stands of red and white pine rise above the shoreline, while jack pine twists in ancient wind-shaped forms over exposed granite boulders and slopes. Black spruce, balsam fir, and paper birch fill out the dense forest tapestry. In late summer, the forest floor is rich with blueberries and raspberries, while sphagnum moss spreads across the bogs. The land is rich in its biodiversity. Bald eagles swooping overhead, loons and swans flying low across the water, moose, deer, and black bears roaming the forests. The Boundary Waters have a human history that runs deep as well. For thousands of years, indigenous people like the Ojibwe and the Cree traveled these same routes that my own canoe is following, moving with the seasons, fishing, hunting, carrying stories across portages worn smooth by generations of feet. Later came the voyageurs, paddling birch bark canoes heavy with beaver furs, navigating by stars and shoreline, exploring and mapping these endless lakes and rivers. This is my first time visiting the Boundary Waters, though it's been calling me for years. Now that my Samoyed puppy Kora has found her way into my life, I had the perfect reason to finally make the trek out here from my home in Colorado, our first adventure together, likely of many more to come. It took her a day to find her footing in the rocking canoe, but then she found her balance and her playful curiosity. I've come here to escape, but in a way also to come home, escaping signals and notifications, appointments and Zoom sessions, and coming home to a rhythm and flow that is tied to the rise and fall of the sun and moon, coming home to the basic elements of sun, wind, earth, and fire. This kind of remoteness has a particular texture. It's not quite emptiness, it's fullness without noise and distraction. I've been seeking external validation for most of my life, needing recognition for my accomplishments, needing to matter in the eyes of others. It's a cup that can never be filled, empty again the moment it is full. Something about the boundary waters occurred to me as a recalibration of that incessant pull outward, recentering the source of my psychic gravity back inside myself. There was an afternoon where we'd pulled up to an absolutely postcard perfect campsite perched at the end of an island. Around noon, I set up camp, brought a chair over to a flat part of a rocky slope that overlooked the water, and just sat there for probably 6 hours, feeling the sun on my face, listening to the wind through the pines, barely a thought, just completely immersed in the moment. And nothing to prove, nothing to seek, nothing missing. It was an experience as close to bliss as I think I've ever had.
I never went down to the river, and I'll never forget I couldn't take care of myself. You held, maybe you couldn't understand me. You held me and it eased your mind. Still I feel lost, I feel lost, I feel lost, I feel lost. I made you wait, and I long for the night. Still I feel lost, and I call easily. I've been blind to things I usually see. Bending over backwards, trying not to break. Bending over backwards, does anybody feel the same?
The whole trip felt like a practice of intimacy, gliding just above the water surface, connected to the water moving underneath the canoe, present to each stroke sliding through the water, attuned to the shimmering surface and the craggy lakeshore undulating next to us. Not lost in thought, but found in pure crystal-like presence. I began to notice small details like the soft rolling of morning mist across the water, the subtle shifts of wind as we rounded a corner, the pattern of lichen on a boulder, the smells of the Northwoods forest. It felt like my senses being restored, cleansed, channels of perception opening again. And then it was our final day, coming back full circle to where we began. This place has really left a deep mark on me, like a reference point for what true presence and simple joy should feel like, and for how the timeless forces of Mother Earth so obviously nourish and nurture us fragile, forgetful humans. As the last bend came into view, I realized this special place hasn't actually given me anything new. It's just reminded me of something I already and always knew and had forgotten, a feeling of being at rest and at home.